Yo, what is up guys? Welcome to the Day 88 recap of the 2016-2017 NBA season. Have you as an NBA fan ever just questioned your organization as a whole? Where your organization does something that just doesn't quite sit right with you and you just question your fandom to this organization, like what exactly are they doing for me? They have been messing up time after time after time after time and after time, and I'm sick of it. I'm sure all of you have felt like this at some point in your lives, unless of course you're a San Antonio Spurs fan. And some of you still feel like this right now. There are some organizations out there that have absolutely no idea what they are doing. And that's what I'm going to be talking about in today's video. I have a list of three organizations that need to get some type of idea of where they are headed. The first one will be the Chicago Bulls. Now the Chicago Bulls are an interesting one. I'll say that they are the best of the three. The Chicago Bulls at least made an attempt. Now it wasn't a very good attempt, but they at least made an attempt to build around Jimmy Butler, to get Jimmy Butler a team that he can contend with, and it hasn't worked out at all. The Bulls are now 21-23 on the season after their loss to the Atlanta Hawks last night. After that loss, Dwayne Wade actually came out and publicly apologized to the Chicago Bulls fans and Dwayne Wade fans for their performance last night. I'm not quite sure if he was talking about his performance in general, because he did basically nothing at all, or the Bulls team as a whole, probably for both. Coming into the season, the starting lineup was Rajon Rondo, Dwayne Wade, Jimmy Butler, Taj Gibson, and Robin Lopez. Now right off the bat, any NBA fan, no matter who he is, can tell you exactly what is wrong with that lineup. There is no shooting and no athleticism in that lineup whatsoever. You have Rajon Rondo who can't shoot the ball. Dwayne Wade can hit some threes occasionally. Jimmy Butler actually has no problem shooting the ball whatsoever. But then of course Taj Gibson and Robin Lopez, you're not going to get anything further than 10 feet away from the basket with those two. And then you look at their bench and they don't have much of a bench either. They traded from Michael Carter-Williams. They still had Nikola Mirotic, and then they had Doug McDermott. That was supposed to be basically the heart of their bench. Now Nikola Mirotic was supposed to be having a good year. It hasn't turned out like that. He's been extremely inefficient. Doug McDermott has just been coming back from injury, and then Michael Carter-Williams is, he's just another player that can't shoot. So now the Chicago Bulls are in this situation. They have easily a top 10 player in Jimmy Butler, but they have failed to put a team around him. And the thing is that he is in his prime, so it's kind of too late for them to start the rebuilding process. And even with Jimmy Butler alone on his team, I don't think they're bad enough to ever get a top 5 pick in the NBA draft to rebuild with. They don't have many trade assets either, so it's not like they can just bring in someone to help save their franchise. So they're basically in no man's land at the moment, where they're not good enough to get into the playoffs, or if they do, they'll get into the 8th seed and then they'll get swept by the Cleveland Cavaliers. And if they miss the playoffs, and they're probably going to wind up with like the 13th or 14th pick in the NBA draft, which won't help them too much. The next organization is the Orlando Magic. Now I'm going to go out on a limb and say this has been the most poorly run organization in the past couple of years. Yes, even more poorly run than the Sacramento Kings, because the Orlando Magic are basically committing suicide. They are committing suicide. They're getting rid of all of their young players for older veterans in an attempt to basically build around none other than Serge Ibaka. Now, maybe their thought process was James Harden left Oklahoma City and look at how he turned out. He is an MVP candidate. Serge Ibaka can be that guy for us too. I'm assuming that's what their thought process was, and that's got to be just about the worst thought process I have ever thought of. If they're honestly trying to build around Serge Ibaka, they say their intent is to re-sign Serge Ibaka after the season because he is an unrestricted free agent, and if he walks away, then they basically gave up Victor Oladipo for absolutely nothing after they gave away Tobias Harris for a bag of corn chips. So that'll be 2 young guys down. And then you look at Elfrid Payton and Nikola Vucevic. These are 2 guys that the Magic have done a very poor job with so far in their careers. Earlier this season, both of them were coming off the bench. They're both back into the starting lineup as of late, but earlier in the season they were both coming off the bench, and they're both on the trading block as well. And then you look at Aaron Gordon, a young player who I really like, who has a lot of potential, but once again the Orlando Magic are ruining him. What happened to Mario Hezonja, by the way? The last thing I think I heard about him was that they were sending him to the D-League. So who knows what's going on with him? And the Magic organization as a whole just has no idea what it's doing. And of course, last but not least, you can't bring up this topic without talking about the Sacramento Kings. Now this is a team that's already been beat to death, so I'm not going to have too much to say about the Sacramento Kings here. DeMarcus Cousins is reportedly going to re-sign with Sacramento, which is great for the organization. It is really great for the organization. It will allow them to keep making money and at least to still be known throughout the NBA as the home of DeMarcus Cousins. But will they ever actually compete? Will they ever actually put talent around DeMarcus Cousins? They're basically in the same boat as the Chicago Bulls, where they both have a great player but have failed to put a solid team around him. Now, at least Chicago Bulls made an attempt. Like I said, the Sacramento Kings have never really made an attempt, unless you count getting guys like Ty Lawson and Matt Barnes as an attempt to build a contender around DeMarcus Cousins. And even furthermore, just like the Chicago Bulls, they're not bad enough to get like a top 5 lottery pick, but they're not good enough to make the playoffs either. And this is an organization, even if they did somehow manage to get the number 1 pick, I'm still not trusting them. I still think they somehow find a way to mess it up. Those are the organizations that I think need to find a clue the most. If you guys think any other organization need to get it together, comment those down below. Did you guys know the Philadelphia 76ers are actually like the most fun team to watch in the NBA at the moment? They got the win 93-92 over the Portland Trail Blazers last night. Now, Portland fans, not much to say there, Portland fans. Robert Covington hit the game-winning shot. A game-winning three with about 4 to 5 seconds left on the clock was nailed by Robert Covington to basically give the Sixers the win. Joel Embiid, though, did go down with an injury. Hopefully it's nothing too serious. It didn't seem like anything too serious, so hopefully he'll be fine. He had 18 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists, and 4 blocks in his 22 minutes of play. And Covington, besides the game-winning three, had 22 points and 6 rebounds on the night. The most anticipated game, though, was the Golden State Warriors versus the Houston Rockets, and it was a really good game up until halftime. Then in the third quarter, the Golden State Warriors pulled apart and the Houston Rockets were never able to really get back into the game. Final score 125-108. Kevin Durant did it all again for the Golden State Warriors. 32 points, 4 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 blocks, and 2 steals. And Stephen Curry had 24 points and 7 assists as well. I feel bad for the team the Houston Rockets are going to go off on, because it's only a matter of time. It's like a ticking time bomb at this point. 7 of 35 from 3. They had not been able to hit a 3 to save their lives over these past few games, so I really do feel bad for the team that they eventually go off on. How do you let this happen? How do you let the Brooklyn Nets score 143 points? That doesn't even register as possible on the scale of possibility. 143-114 is the final score as the Brooklyn Nets dominate the New Orleans Pelicans. Brook Lopez, I don't know how he did this. What did he do this offseason? Take a look at this. Brook Lopez is shooting 34% from 3 this season, right? That doesn't sound too good. That's not that great whatsoever. But then look at this. He took a total of 31 threes throughout his entire career leading up to the season and made 3 of them. That is less than 10% shooting from 3. And this season already, halfway through the season, he has taken 167 threes. How do you do that from season to season? And you're trying to tell me that Andre Drummond and DeAndre Jordan still can't learn how to make free throws? I am not buying that. Rudy Gobert has to be one of the most under-talked about but best players in the NBA. Throughout this entire season, he has been the constant for the Utah Jazz. They have been going through a lot of injuries, but the one thing that has always remained the same is Rudy Gobert. And last night, 27 points, career high, 25 rebounds, a career high, and he also had 2 blocks as the Utah Jazz got the overtime win over the Dallas Mavericks. 27 points, 25 rebounds for Rudy Gobert. Did you know he is the best defensive player in the league this season? This is statistically speaking. It's not even because I like him. He is statistically speaking the best defensive player this season. He leads the league in blocks so far, and I believe it's like 2.5 a game. And then he's also number 1 in defensive win shares. If you're a Toronto Raptors fan, that was not the best game for you. I would imagine that was kind of hard to watch. They got demolished by the Charlotte Hornets, 113-78. Kemba Walker went off. 32 points, 8 assists, and 4 rebounds for Kemba. 13 points, 6 assists, and 4 rebounds for Nick Batum. And then you had like Frank Kaminsky coming off the bench and doing work for the Hornets too. And then for the Raptors, no one was really doing work whatsoever. I mean, Kyle Lowry didn't really shoot the ball necessarily well. He had 24 points. DeMar DeRozan had 23 points. The Bucks are on a bit of a losing streak. They lost to the Orlando Magic 112-96 last night, and I guess you can kind of expect this from a young team. Elfrid Payton had a good game for the Magic last night, 20 points, 6 assists, and 3 steals. But like I said, this Magic organization really needs to get a clue because they had some nice young talent, and sure, it might not have fit together that well, but at the same time, they basically got nothing for the young players they traded away. No real big surprise here. The Memphis Grizzlies made short work of the Sacramento Kings. 107-91 is your final score. Marc Gasol is still a beast. 28 points, 9 rebounds, and 4 assists. And Mike Conley, while I still don't think he is worth his contract, he is a good point guard. He is a solid starting point guard. 16 points, 8 rebounds, and 8 assists. He's just the type of point guard where you know what you're going to get from him every night. You never have to worry about him. He's just a really nice point guard. And last but not least, the Lakers got the win over the Indiana Pacers. D'Angelo Russell went down with an injury at basically the very beginning of the game, and he would never come back. But whenever there's an injury or the Lakers need someone to step up, you know who does? Lou Williams. Lou Williams would be more up there for 6th man of the year if the Lakers could get more wins. They are 16-31 of the year. 27 points last night, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists for Lou Williams. And Brandon Ingram has been coming alive as of late. Over these past 10 games or so, he hasn't been shooting the ball that bad at all. Last night he was 6 of 14 from the field and had 15 points on the night to go with 7 rebounds. He's starting to come into his own, which will be great. I can't wait to see what he looks like in the season or 2 seasons from now. But that about wraps up all the action for the Day 88 recap of the 2016-2017 NBA season, and now it's time to get into the player of the day. Yesterday you guys selected Karl Anthony Towns and his 37 points, 12 rebounds, and 5 assists as the player of the day. And here are today's nominees. Of course, you have Rudy Gobert, 27 points, 25 rebounds, 2 blocks. Kevin Durant, 32 points, 4 rebounds, 7 assists. Kemba Walker, 32 points, 4 rebounds, 8 assists, and Marc Gasol, 28 points, 8 rebounds, and 3 assists. So you guys can go vote right now on the Mio Hardwood NBA app. The link to the poll will be in the description as well as in the comment section below. Other than that though, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Remember to leave a like on the video if you did, and don't forget to subscribe for more daily NBA videos. And you guys already know that I'll be right back here again tomorrow with some more NBA fire. So until then, keep getting the buckets, Team SDC, and I'm out of here. Peace!